thank you very much for coming and watching this film. I'd like to ask Miki and Khalid, I think he's here, if they can join us for a short. Wonderful. So thank you so much for making all the way and being here with us. At some point, Faith mentions that how much Barcelona inspired him, but I felt that how much also Cape Town inspired us in terms of resisting these eviction processes, even through legal processes and so on. Could you tell us a little bit about how you come to engage with this film and with this case, and maybe share with us your...
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting us. I think I just want to acknowledge that it's a real... I don't know what the word is, but to be the opening night film for an architectural film festival, I think is incredibly significant. And I just want to acknowledge that. You know, that you've foregrounded housing for people as opposed to housing for profit. That you've made that choice, so I want to thank you for that. The story, well, Pearlie's an investigative journalist and a long-time friend, and we'd been wanting to make a film that looks at inequality and race in Cape Town, and that also asks the question, how does change happen? And simultaneously, we'd been following the work of Reclaim the City. We'd been involved in some of their actions. We'd been supporting some of the occupations. And after a couple of months of doing that, we thought their kind of activism, what they were doing, it was so fresh and new and interesting. It's creative. You know, we're creatives. And they were challenging, I think, government in a very innovative way. And we just wanted to tell that story.
Khalid, were you involved from the beginning, or you just jumped in the editing part?
Yeah, I wasn't involved. I knew about the movement and I knew about the occupations, but I was probably editing other films while you were filming, and then I got involved with Mickey. I know Mickey for a long time, and we worked together before. So yeah, I got involved in the editing part later. But then so much happened during the edit. I was never on the ground, so I wasn't part of the movement in that way.
But we're all part of the story. Anybody who lives in Cape Town is part of the story. So I've been talking to you about it for years, because it took years. It took 6 years. So anybody who ever had a conversation with me knew about it. I think also, just to sort of say the context of our working relationship, I think Khalid had edited a previous film that I made called This Land, which was about the land issue from a rural perspective. And I just thought that the film needed the unique mix of political astuteness and creativity that Khalid brought to the project. So it was very much a collaboration, and we edited over a period of a year. That doesn't mean we edited for a year, but we cut, and then I went and did some more things, and then cut some more, and so it was very collaborative in that way. And Nkosikhona, who's the narrator in the film, he spent a lot of time with us in the edit as well, coming in, voicing, trying things, discussing it. We spent a lot of time in our basement recording the voice, trying different things. We didn't have a budget to go into a sound studio at that point. So also I wanted it to be authentic, so I didn't want it to be cluttered with technical stuff. So we kind of just put a duvet on the table and filmed the voice in that way. So it was very collaborative on everybody's part.
Wonderful. Is there anyone who wants to ask a question or make a comment?
I heard that there were some awards, or one award at least, that... I heard that there were some awards. What awards has the film got so far?
Okay, well, we're very excited. We heard today that we were awarded the Ladima Award for African women in filmmaking. So we're very excited about that.
Well done.
That's brand new news. And Mother City, the film, won the Thomas Sankara Award for Pan-Africanism for promoting the ideals of Pan-Africanism at FESPACO. And that was really, I mean, it was a very emotional moment because it just speaks so much to what we wanted to do. So we were very, very honored, very moved by that. So I think every time, for me, the biggest thing is when the film is in a room and you can feel the room. I always think I'm going to walk out after the titles, but I could feel the room here tonight, and so I stayed. I mean, honestly, I've seen it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, but I still feel when people feel the film, and I think that's the greatest reward.
Yes, we did feel. There's a question.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's an incredible film and time that we can spend with you. I just think of all the B-rolls and B-rolls and B-rolls and material that exists, and imagining where your future archive will be, and we can work with this. But this is not my question. My question is, how do you relate to distribution when this film comes in a moment where the fight is won? A lot of people I think of that will not have the chance to go to film festivals, but who need to watch this film. So how do you distribute, or what is your vision for this film to reach an audience that needs to be empowered, and this film might help them? As Paulo said, I think this will be very important to share this film right now in Portugal. But yeah, I wanted to hear you on this.
Well, please share it in Portugal. We now even have a Portuguese version, so that's available.
No, you didn't screen it today?
No, they want it in English. So, it's exactly actually to the week, a year since we premiered the film. And honestly, there's hardly a week that goes by that there isn't a screening somewhere. So we are running an impact campaign with the film. If you see at the bottom it says get involved, and there's our website. So if you go to Mother City Documentary, take action, you can host a screening. And we do screenings in so many different contexts and surprising contexts. It's not, sometimes it's a church group, sometimes it's just a group of women who decide that they want to have something to discuss, and then they screen the film. Sometimes it's a lot of people in a university. So we have been running an impact campaign, and we always, in South Africa at least, we try and make sure that there's always one of the activists present, at least, to keep that conversation going. So with the film will be available on a streamer by the end of the year. At this stage, we're looking at self-distributing. Basically, the film hasn't had much commercial uptake. I can't imagine why. So we'll just keep doing it ourselves.
Okay, there's a question at the back. And if there's any other question, maybe you raise your hand so we can take. Okay, let's take 2 questions and then we...
Can I say something? I think it's also important, if you know any South Africans, Cape Townians, especially white Cape Townians, to watch the film if they haven't seen it. Because this is something really... In Cape Town, it's obvious how racialized the city is. But it's also not obvious, right? If you go on holiday, it's very beautiful and it's kind of charming, and it takes you in a very kind of impressive way. You see the poverty, but you don't really get it. And a lot of people who live there, a lot of white Cape Townians who live there especially, also don't see it. So if you know, I would encourage, lots of South Africans to watch it and Cape Townians to see the film.
Okay.
Hello, thank you so much for the film. I was surprised with how they not only were resisting, but they were also reinventing. And I think that's a very powerful thing in the film. And I was wondering how you, both of you, continue to be motivated and for 6 years, and how the role of imagining, of reinventing, of resisting entered your process while making the film. So I was wondering about this.
Let's take the next question, because I think we need to wrap up. And was there another question? Yes, it was here.
Hi, congratulations on your film. I would like to ask, what has been the impact so far with the film? By impact, I'm not just asking about the numbers, how many people watch it, but you clearly have your web page, because I was checking while you were speaking, the word take action. So what kind of actions have result after people watching the film? Any projects, initiatives, more activists?
Okay, I'll answer half the first question and then hand over to Khalid, then I'll answer the impact question. So I think what you said, the fact that they are so creative with their strategies and funny, you know, humor, having a sense of humor is so important. So that really kept us going. I think their humor, our humor, you know, we cried a lot in the edit suite. I cried a lot. Especially when Khalid made me cut something that took me ages to film. But also laughed a lot. So I think, I mean, it's just the humanity. It's the humanity, it's our own humanity, and it's the humanity of the people. And it's the importance of the story, our belief in it, that kept us going. I think it was also very important for us to show that the strategizing, the meetings. I mean, we filmed just every Monday, we'd go film a meeting. You know, all those conversations, planning things, the actions in the street, the legal thinking. I mean, they were just genius, you know. So they were just so fascinating to follow that kept us going. I don't know.